Epilepsy warning for flashing lights and colors.
Well, every year I do a spooky themed video for Halloween, and this year is no different. But no matter what time of year it is, animatronics are always a staple of amusement and theme parks, and you can find these awesome machines in even more places. Today, we're going to take a look at some that many viewers out there have never heard of, so as voted on by the fans, here are the top 10 obscure, disturbing animatronics. Number 10. The Shark at England's Alton Towers. Yep, we're starting off this list with some, say it with me, submechanophobia. At this point, I may be on my way to making a top 10 shark animatronics video. As for this one, it can be found in the park's Mutiny Bay area. This pirate-themed zone has several attractions, including the Battle Galleon's water ride. One notable part of the scenery is a shark swimming around a small ramshackle raft. Being submerged in water is already enough to chill some mechanophobia to the bone, but what makes this guy especially disturbing is the visible wear on the shark's body. Though it has previously been cleaned and maintained by the park, the brown stains and washed out color can easily give onlookers a bad case of the heebie-jeebies. And it doesn't help that the water the shark swims in is extremely murky, obscuring the figure's lower half from view. Needless to say, you wouldn't want to fall in the water with this guy, but there's a good chance you may end up doing so anyway in your nightmares tonight. Number 9. Bubba Bear at Tennessee's Smoky Mountain Knife Works. Yep, this animatronic sits inside of a knife store, the self-proclaimed world's largest knife store to be exact. This is an odd location because not only does it sell knives and guns, it also contains a good collection of taxidermy and an actual knife museum. There are also some unsettling elements to the store too, like the creepy human figures in the displays. But in terms of animatronics, there's actually an anthropomorphic musical duo known as Bubba Bear and Ricochet Raccoon. And I wonder if Ricochet is related to Rocket Raccoon. Probably is a strange second cousin who spouts off moon landing conspiracies at Thanksgiving dinner. But in all seriousness, these guys are just a jolly pair of musicians playing a violin and a banjo. Ricochet doesn't look too unnerving, but the bear's realistic, expressionless face makes him qualified for this list. It's as if someone taxidermied a real bear and turned it into an animatronic. He looks like the kind of animatronic that would rip you to shreds if William Afton got involved. Reference aside, I'd love to check this place out, especially since there isn't a lot of footage of these guys online. Number 8. The Campbell Can at Ohio's Jungle Jim's International Market. This figure is located at Jungle Jim's International Market, a large specialty supermarket in the city of Fairfield, just outside of Cincinnati. This store is considered by many to be a theme park for food. Not only does it offer a wide variety of foods from around the world, but it also has a plethora of colorful displays and even a few animatronics. Among the figures are a talking ear of corn, a General Mills cereal band with just a hint of trypophobia, and a talking Campbell soup can on a swing. This figure was actually created and donated by the Campbell Company themselves, and they must have really wanted to serve up some nightmares with their soup. The large soup can has exaggerated human-like features, including wide, unblinking eyes and a big-lipped mouth. Aside from its discomforting stare, there's also something eerie about the way he swings back and forth in a frozen position. It makes him come across as more like a possessed kid in a horror movie than a cheerful can of condensed soup. Am I supposed to eat the soup, or is the soup going to eat me? Overall, I'd honestly love to visit this place, and despite its creepy vibe, this soup can is a nice addition to the store, so kudos to Campbell's. Number 7. Woody the Talking Tree at Colorado's Adventure Golf and Raceway. One of the biggest animatronic companies out there is Distortions Unlimited. These fine folks are responsible for some of the most memorable and wonderfully detailed figures on the market. But among their most creative creations is this one at a mini golf course in Westminster, Colorado. Though a third-party designer sculpted the trunk and branches, Distortions Unlimited crafted the face, complete with a moving mouth and moving eyeballs. They also designed the owl that pops out of the top of the tree and the 2 skunks on the side of him, which do actually spray putters every now and then. The features on Woody's face are absolutely uncanny, and I wouldn't be surprised if the company had access to some kind of magic potion that turned people into trees. Plus, is it me, or does the way the tree recites its dialogue remind me of Christopher Walken?
You leave me speechless.
Honestly, having a talking Christopher Walken tree comment on your putting skills sounds like the best miniature golf course ever. To put it simply, Woody is a work of art by Distortions Unlimited and everyone else involved. Number 6. Hap the Happy Farm Boy at New Hampshire's Storyland. Located in northeast New Hampshire, Storyland has garnered a well-deserved reputation as one of the best local family theme parks in the country. With its elaborate theming and wide variety of attractions for all ages, this park is a great place to take the kids. This place is like something straight out of a dream, but that doesn't mean there aren't any nightmares to be found. Among the park's shows and experiences is Melody Farms, which Storyland describes on their website as, quote, our award-winning vegetable extravaganza. This show centers on a bunch of singing fruits and vegetables, led by a scarecrow named Hap the Happy Farm Boy. This guy is basically a giant head on legs with no torso to speak of. His face is also surprisingly detailed, with lowered eyelids, a wide toothy smile, freckled cheeks, and crow's feet. A scarecrow with crow's feet, go figure. His dead-eyed grin and robotic movements make him look like he's up to something, as if he's planning to turn all of the characters into a 5-course meal later on. Of course, all of this is in jest, and I'm sure Hap is a great guy to grab a drink with, but I wouldn't be surprised if some people out there were a bit unsettled by him. Surprisingly enough, this show doesn't just operate at Storyland. There's actually a traveling version that visits different fairs around the country like the North Carolina State Fair, the Big E, and more. See if you can check out this show at a fair near you. Number 5. The Evil Spider at Spain's Terra Mítica. This Spanish park has a deep history that I unfortunately don't have time to go into, but one of its attractions is a dark ride named El Laberinto del Minotauro. This attraction takes guests on an intense shooting dark ride based on Greek mythology. Specifically, it's based on the 6 labors of Theseus. Built by the fine folks at Sally Dark Rides, this course includes several notable animatronics. These include a large dragon, Cerberus, the intimidating harpies, and a real gut punch for arachnophobics. At one point, you'll come across this mysterious spider-like creature with a monstrous face. I'm not really sure what it is, and Sally's website doesn't say either. Its demonic teeth and snake-like eyes are especially terrifying when combined with its writhing 8-legged body. For some reason, its abdomen also has leopard print. Overall, it certainly does fit the bill of being disturbing. Number 4. The Avocado Girls at the Stu Leonard's chain of grocery stores. As a Connecticut resident, I'm especially excited to talk about this one. Known as the Disneyland of dairy stores, Stu Leonard's has several locations in the tri-state area. Maybe in a few months I'll give the chain its own video and talk about each unique location, but for now, we're heading to the closest one to me in Norwalk, Connecticut. Like Jungle Gyms, this grocery store is also known for its animatronics, and there are quite a few of them. Each has a unique and memorable design, and can be activated by shoppers with buttons. Among these colorful characters is the Avocado Girls. Like Woody, this duo of avocados has extremely uncanny facial features, resembling avocado pits that mutated and came to life. They have huge, detailed eyes with the most intense mascara since the Okefenokis yassified carrots. Shoppers can make the avocados sing a song about, well, avocados, to the tune of La Cucaracha. Their movements are extremely robotic, with their limbs being frozen in place. And even after they finish their song, they continue to move on their own as shoppers go about their grocery excursions. Somebody out there really needs to make a Five Nights at Stu's game. At that point, I'd be like, shut up and take my money. If you're interested in a future video about Stu Leonard's as a whole, feel free to comment down below. Number 3. The Talking Clock at New York's FAO Schwartz. Once again, this animatronic wasn't at a theme park, but rather a toy store. First founded in 1862, FAO Schwartz claims to be the oldest toy store chain in the United States. In 1988, the brand received international attention after its Dance on Piano was featured in the Tom Hanks movie Big. At one point, the chain had a store on New York City's 5th Avenue. This place was absolutely nuts, featuring plenty of toys and drawing in tons of tourists. In 1986, the store added a major main feature to its entrance, a singing clock tower with an extremely creepy face. It stood in place until 2004. Soon afterwards, the clock face was moved to the escalator area where it would ominously stare at guests passing below. The clock's face resembles a porcelain doll mixed with a ventriloquist dummy. Its unblinking eyes moved left to right, and you couldn't help but feel that it was watching you. You can easily imagine those eyes being cameras hooked up to a massive surveillance room. Unfortunately, the 5th Avenue store closed in 2015, but a new Manhattan location opened in Rockefeller Plaza. The original clock face wasn't brought back, but it has since been given a modernized, much less creepy makeover. Still though, it's hard not to feel nostalgic for the old one, and I'm curious to see where it is today. If you know what happened to it, I'd love to know. Number 2, the Mummy from Florida's Busch Gardens, Tampa. This figure is on a ride that hasn't exactly aged well. Back in 1998, Busch Gardens Tampa opened a new simulator attraction called Akbar's Adventure Tours. The plot centered around an Egyptian tour guide named Akbar, played by Martin Short in problematic makeup, trying to get out of having his property repossessed by offering a repo man, played by the also not Egyptian Eugene Levy, a magical tour across Egypt. Guests fly through the marketplace, encounter the pyramids, and come face to face with a mummy. Interestingly enough, this mummy is not just an effect on the screen. Between the screen and the guests, there's an opening in the simulator's roof that allows an animatronic mummy to drop down and lunge towards the passengers. It's pretty hard to make out the details in this footage, but the sheer terror of seeing it in the dark is well represented. Unfortunately, photos and video of this ride are insanely rare. That said, Expedition Theme Park did do a video on the ride a while ago. They were able to get exclusive permission to use some rare photos of the animatronic. However, the source they got it from said the photos could not be redistributed or further shared, so I'll link their video with timestamps in the description. Number 1. Singing Sam at South Dakota's Wall Drug Store. This guy was like something straight out of a horror movie, down to the totally obscure location. This figure is located at a roadside attraction named Wall Drug Store. As the name implies, it does feature a drugstore, but it's a lot more than that. It also includes a gift shop, several restaurants, an art gallery, and a singing animatronic ape. What you're seeing on screen right now is the current version of this figure, and while you wouldn't want to come across him in a dark room, the character isn't too bad on his own. However, the same can't be said about the previous version of this guy. It had operated for a good amount of time, but by the early 90s, the animatronic was in horrible condition. I'm not kidding when I say its appearance was pure, unfiltered nightmare fuel, and it's well deserving of the number 1 spot here. Its wide open mouth, misaligned jaw, wide open eyes, weirdly long arms, and decayed face reportedly caused children to run away at times. Over the years, he would look more and more decayed, and his face literally looked like it was melting off. Geez, you don't have to be a kid to get nightmares from this. Anyway, at some point, the store's owners made the merciful decision to put this gorilla out of his misery and replaced him with the version they have today. However, there was actually more than one of the original style of Singing Sams out there. One of them even continues to operate at another South Dakota attraction in Buffalo Ridge named 1880 Cowboy Town. This gorilla's owners did a much better job of maintaining his appearance, and he continues to play his piano to this day. If you ever find yourself in South Dakota, go ahead and say hello to the Symphonic Simian. Now it's time for the comment shoutout program. This is where I take 5 random comments from my previous video and read them out. These comments come from my video on liminal indoor water parks. Slug Jester says, when I went to Hershey Park a while back, we stood in a hotel with a pool you could see from the balcony, which kind of reminds me of Mariner's Cove. I forgot the name since I was definitely still a kid. QDude24 says, I have been to Babylon a few times as a kid, and I couldn't see a lot since I don't have glasses in pools, haha. But the weirdest thing was the fact it was inside of a hotel, and the kiddie pool was actually on a different floor. Chris Baron 515 says, I'm acutely claustrophobic, so wandering around massive oversized rooms is a paradise for me. Witch Hunter Siegfried says, since there's no comment about it, Waterworld was made into a map for Gmod called TTT Waterworld. And Jahara Jai Eric says, regular liminal spaces never really did anything for me, but pictures like these, especially the drained pools, give me the creeps. If you want to see your words in my next video, leave a comment down below and it may be selected. Please note though that inflammatory or spam comments will not be read. Now before we wrap things up, I want to give a special shout out to my newest Patreon supporters. Verbal shoutouts start at the hyper tier, and if you're interested in supporting me on Patreon, I put a link in the description. Here's a special shout out to Caleb Pinette. Thank you all so much. Your support is crucial to the future of this channel.
Thank you all so much, and if you want to support me on Patreon, you can do so once again at the link in the description.
Thanks for watching, everyone. Feel free to like, share, and subscribe. You can follow me on social media on Instagram and Facebook, or you can check out my website at themeparkcrazy.com.
And I'm on TikTok.
This is Theme Park Crazy, and I'll see you all next time.